In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him nothing was made that was made.
For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. How are you doing this fine, freezing Sunday afternoon? I am Jake Johnson, and this is Untethered Live, Bible study on a Sunday night. I'm excited. I can't wait. I'm all geared up, keyed up, and ready to rock and roll. Or, read a lot. Read a lot. That's what I'm going to do tonight. I'm going to read to my camera, and it's going to go out of my camera, up the wires, out across the town, into the networks and the various satellites and whatever they do, and across the world, and then down the lines and into your computers and into your speakers and out and then right into your ear holes and weed its way right into your brain and just melt all over your synapses. It's kind of gross when you think about it, but that's what we're doing here tonight. It's like my mind to your mind, my thoughts to your thoughts. I'm probably going to get sued by CBS. But you know what? I think it'll be all right. I saw that movie. It was pretty good. How is everybody? Welcome to the show. Come on in. Take your shoes off. Set a spell. Caucasian Sasquatch is yelling things at me, and I don't know why. What's wrong with my face? Dagnabbit. Don't know what you mean. Are you saying you could see my face before I started? Because if that's true, then I don't understand the mechanics of the go live button. It's always there. Well, that's terrible. That's like a nightmare. I'm living rent-free in your head. So could you see me before I started the show? Is that what you're saying? Or are you just yelling your face just to be contrarian and introspective? I like it either way. I just want to know. Good morning, MVTV. Welcome to you. How are you doing? I hope you're not snowed in. Even in your sleep. That too. So I guess you can't see my face before I go live? Because I'm streaming, but it shouldn't be going out. I noticed that MVTV was talking to me before I went live, but I'm assuming that he's seeing a blank screen until I go live. If not, I really need to rethink my pre-show warm-up. Somebody answer me, please. I had a visit from a giant John Deere grader with a double blade. Wow. Well, I'm glad. That means you can drive out of your driveway, right? You're not going to confirm or deny. Why you always got to be difficult? In the time before you go live, it shows your thumbnail, so it looks good. Okay. All right. I was worried you might be able to see what I was doing before I pressed the live button. Because, sometimes I'm walking around without a shirt on or whatever, getting ready, making faces, stretching. Don't want anybody to see that part. They dug him out. Yep. Well, how much snow did you get, MVTV? It looked like about 4 feet. Probably more, though, right? I'm kind of concerned about you up there in the big snow drifts. I mean, thinking about you all day. No, I have the hidden stealth cam on a different feed. About 2.5 to 6 with drifts. Gotcha. There's a big difference between 2.5 and 6. I'm 6. 2.5 are my knees. I've had 2 copyright takedowns in 2 streams from LibriVox. Really? They took your stuff down, or they just give you a copyright claim? Was it a strike or a claim? I had a copyright claim from last podcast because I played a couple songs. Seems like every time I pick up my guitar, unless it's an original, they hit me. Every time. And it's not like I'm playing their song. It's different. I changed it. It's my song. It just has their lyrics. Now a massive below zero blast coming. Yeah, it's cold here too, buddy. What is LibriVox? Music? I'm not exactly sure, but I think it's like a library of music. Sounds like it anyway. They took you off the air? Really? They canceled your stream midstream? That's terrible. I'd stop using LibriVox or anything associated with them. LibriVox is the public domain audio book. Oh. Well, it must not be public domain, or there must be some element of it that's still copyrighted, because they shouldn't be able to do that. Public domain means you can use it. There was a big stink not too long ago about Mickey Mouse and all those characters from the 30s cartoons, because they were coming up for release from copyright. And they were scared that people were going to just use them. So they did something, some lawsuit or something. I can't remember how they resolved that, but they got their rights back or whatever. But I'm looking into it, says Caucasian. Well, I hope you have good luck with that, man. That sucks. Damn again, those touchy little varmints. I hate that for you, man. Read the fine print is all I can tell you, because they'll get you one way or another. I've never had a stream taken down before or killed in midstream, but I've gotten copyright claims for singing songs. Again, I get copyright hits all the time, but each one is allowed, usually because it's very old movie themes, etc. Yeah. Well, there's certain things that you can do, like they're going to hit me with a copyright claim, but they'll allow it. But what that means is they'll put ads on my show, and if they make any money off of it, they keep it. I don't get any of it. So they'll allow it because they can make money off of it. I think that's why they're so adamant about copyright and everything, copyright claim and everything, is because they're making money off of it. So just know that every copyright claim you get, if that video makes any money, if it reaches a certain number of viewers and it makes a certain amount of money, they're going to keep it. You're not going to get any of it. Was it that darn evil song? Elvis song. That darn Elvis song? Probably. I don't know. Actually, my last podcast, I got 3 copyright claims. I sang 3 songs out of the 5 covers that I did got copyright claimed. Yeah, some either allow 100% or allow ads, but I'm too small for them to bother. No worries of that. Hey, Fab Daddy. Hey, Fab Daddy, good to see you. Well, I thought it was a song I played right before it took me down, but no, it was the Christmas Carol. Oh. Yeah. The Christmas music, they've got that stuff copyrighted. So even if it is open source or public domain, all the Christmas songs are copyrighted. And they're going to make sure they're going to sell those. I had one stream I had to delete years ago when we first started the podcast. I did a Christmas special. Excuse me, I found a bone in that one. I did a Christmas special, and in that Christmas special, we did a Christmas song, and they made me delete the video. But that was before I knew I could fight it. But it was weird because I actually spoke to somebody from YouTube back when my channel had almost no viewers on it. Somebody actually contacted me, said, you got to take that down. It was a black lady. I was like, it's a Christmas song. What are you talking about? It's Christmas. Nope. It was a Pentatonics song, version of a Christmas song. And I was like, they don't own it either. They're just singing it. It's a Christmas song. It's been around forever. Everybody sings Christmas songs during Christmas. I thought that was okay. Apparently not. Yep, that's in the holiday spirit. Well, I'll chit-chat another minute or two, and then we'll get started. Let everybody roll in. I had a good show last night. I made a little video. You can see it on my shorts of the setup process. You know, while we were setting up, I just walked around with my camera, did a little 30-second video or whatever. 1,000 people watched it before the show ended. So it was a good little video there. So that was awesome. And the show itself was pretty good. I ate chili and peanut butter toast last night. How did you like it? Was I right? What do we do for a Christmas special? Captain Curmudgeon did a visit from St. Fauci? I guess. You don't get to do much unless you own the right to the song or pay royalties to it or something. With milk. Excellent. Was it good? I see it on your shorts. What do trousers have to do with... Oh, never mind. Phrasing. It was okay. It's a very interesting flavor combination. I loved it. It's a strange thing, though. It took me by surprise when they served it to me. It was regular old chili, cheese, and peanut butter toast, and a glass of milk. And that's the best flavor combination that I had in a long time. It's just a weird juxtaposition of flavors, you know. Because you got the peanut butter, which has the peanut butter texture, and chili, which has the chili texture, and they wash it down with milk. And for some reason, it's good. It don't sound like it's good, but it's good. But thank you for trying my suggestion. I appreciate that. I'm open to all kinds of things, and I only ask that you be open as well. Milk helped the peanut butter texture. Yeah. And the milk and the toast have a kind of a flavor combination of their own. The peanut butter and the chili kind of makes it different too. I don't know. If you do it, you may or may not like it, but you can't argue that it's different. It's definitely different. And I like different occasionally. Regular old chili with cheese. That could be a ringtone for me. I do not hear real Southern accents except for friend Carol from Alabama. You don't hear real Southern accents? What do you mean? ATL, what's up, my buddy? Good to see you. I work security at night at a mall and would sneak into 31 Flavors at night and make insane sundaes and snacks. Oh, that's sweet. That's some of the perks of working security. I used to work security back in the day, and I worked festivals and stuff. So I got to walk around at night while all the vendors were gone and play with all their good stuff. It's pretty nice. I walked up on stage and played Mark Chestnut's guitar while he wasn't there. That's fun. That was over 30 years ago. It's been about that long for me, too, actually. I was in my 20s when I worked security in Florida for a company called Whackin' Hut. I was a security guard guarding the train crash of the Barnum and Bailey Circus train crash. If you want to look back over the news and check that out, that happened in Lakeland, Florida, and a lot of people died. It was the Barnum and Bailey Circus train crashed, and then 2 helicopters crashed right on top of it. Really a weird week. I worked almost 24 hours a day for 2 weeks working there, trying to keep reporters away and interested third parties. Kind of an interesting day. Nice. Good to see you, Sasquatch, says ATL. I was playing piano backstage last night. Were you? Cool. I remember that. The train crash? Yep, I was there. I bet you saw and heard a few things. I did. I saw a bunch of dead bodies, a bunch of dead animals. I can tell you that. I'm sorry, I don't understand, says Caucasian. What don't you understand? Wonder where my April is tonight. She'll pop in a minute and go, hey, sorry I'm late. My clock didn't say 8 o'clock. We got a good read tonight. Good stuff coming. We're in the great book of Leviticus. That's the book of the law, baby. Chapter 11, verse 46. That's where we're going to start tonight. That's where we left off last week. We're going to pick up tonight. April Rain with a Y. ATL, how you been doing, buddy? You doing good? Hope all is well with you. Hope you're staying warm. It's freezing air. I don't know how cold it is, but it's down in the 30s for sure. I know. It's worse where you are, MVTV. But it's cold to me. I'm from the South. I ain't used to snow drifts and stuff. I'm used to sunshine and more sunshine. And the occasional sunshine. A faulty propane valve showered more than it really was, so went off last night. A faulty propane valve showed more than it really was, so went off last night. Are you saying your heat went off last night? That sucks. Only thing I can tell you is learn how to build a fire, because that's a skill worth having when it gets cold. Truck due tomorrow anyway. To put it up to 100%, your propane. Have electric radiator backups. Thick cabin. So about 56 and okay. 56 degrees. Okay, that's good. At least you're not freezing. Excuse me, somebody's texting me. Somebody who should know better. First place, not with a wood stove. Not my choice. One is set up in the bunk house, though, and I loaded the barn with firewood anyway. Well, hey, if you got to sleep in the barn, stay warm, buddy. Lots of blankets and build a fire. But you don't want to build one in the cabin, with a wood stove. I heated my house with a wood stove for a lot of years. We had one of those pig-nosed wood stoves, that cast iron deals. And it's some of the best heat you can have. Hey, Katie, good to see you. You can't see Katie, but I can. Welcome to the show. We're about to get started. It is 8:20, so let's go down, shall we? If you got your Bibles handy, crack them open to that big book of Leviticus. Pow, chapter 11, verse 46. There's my April. I knew you'd make it. I knew you'd be here. I knew you wouldn't let me down. There she is. That's right. All right. And it goes like this. 5, 6, 7, 8. This is the law of the beasts and of the fowl, and every living creature that moveth in the waters, and of every creature that creepeth upon the earth. Apparently they need laws too. Speed limits and such. You know, those dastardly grasshoppers get pretty quick. Anyway, to make a difference between the unclean and the clean, and between the beasts that may be eaten and the beasts that may not be eaten. This is a very important law because if you eat a tarantula, you deserve to get bit. Don't eat one of those. But you can eat a grasshopper. You cannot eat a dung beetle because yuck. But you can eat regular beetles. But yuck. You can eat crickets, ants, locusts, maggots, larvae of certain types. But you don't want to eat a bombardier beetle because it burns. It burns. Look at there. She apologizes for being late. She had to do some private stuff, but she's here now. Well, I'm glad you're here, baby. I miss you when you're not here. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, If a woman have conceived seed and born a man-child, then she shall be unclean for 7 days. According to the days of the separation of her infirmity shall she be unclean. Let me translate. When a woman has a baby, that's not all she has. She also passes the placenta, which is the separation of the infirmity. So when you do that, there's a certain amount of blood and other bodily functions that inevitably occur, especially in the days before epidurals and other drugs and episiotomies. And you can look that word up if you don't know what it means. Ladies, I'm sure you do. And so it got nasty. So when you're pregnant and you have a baby, which has nothing to do with eating bugs, by the way. I'm watching you, Bible. But you'll be unclean for 7 days. That's pretty standard. Most things that are unclean last about 7 days. Or until evening, depending on the severity of the uncleanness. And in the 8th day, the flesh of his foreskin shall be circumcised. That's the man-child. 8 days after the baby's born is when you perform the circumcision. Why? Because it's old enough that he's not going to die from shock, but young enough that he won't remember the pain of you snipping off the tip of his penis. So it's a good thing to do it quickly when they're born, but you don't want to do it the first or second day. Just wait about 7 days, 8 days, and then do it. It's also a good ritualistic thing that they did in those days. You have to count the placenta. That's correct. Count the placenta. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Placenta. What comes after the baby? You've had some of these. You know what we're talking about. And she shall then continue in the blood of her purifying 33 days. She shall touch no hallowed thing, nor come into the sanctuary until the day of her purifying be fulfilled. That means you need to allow yourself a month to heal. That's typical of pregnancy also. You don't want to, get busy for a little while after a birth. And also, things seep. Sometimes you just got to be, healed up. Childbirth is traumatic. And especially if you're doing it in a tent in the desert, it can get nasty. So I'm just saying. You were knocked out, so you don't remember any of it? Well, when you have a baby, the placenta comes out too. Looks like a flat bagpipe. Kind of. It's not plaid, but, Now, but if she bear a maid child, that's a female, then she shall be unclean for 2 weeks, as in her separation. And she shall continue in the blood of her purifying for 66 days. That's 66 days. That's more than a month. That's 2 months. Why? Double your pleasure, double the fun. Your guess is as good as mine. Apparently, women are dirty. I didn't say that. The Bible did. You said on it. And when the day of her purifying, I keep wanting to say purification, but it says purifying. When the days of her purifying are fulfilled for a son or for a daughter, she shall bring a lamb of the first year for a burnt offering, a young pigeon, or a turtle dove. That's one of those things in the Christmas song. It's a dove with a shell, and it's a ninja sometimes. For a sin offering unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. She can't go in because she's nasty, but she can bring it to the door unto the priest, and he'll take it from her gladly and shoo her away and do the sacrifice for her, because you don't want to go in the tabernacle. That's the tabernacle of God. You can't bring unclean things into the tabernacle. I don't care if you feel like you're fresh. You're not. So relax, ladies, and, get some Summer's Eve or whatever it is. Unclean is different from dirty, of course. Of course it is. You know I'm being funny. I hope you know. Can you not hear the jest in my voice? I assume the nurses and doctors did that part. I had a C-section. Well, if you had a C-section, they took it all out at once. You didn't pass anything. Ooh, you found a loophole. Check that out. You got a loophole. You could go right on into the tabernacle. If you were Jewish and lived 5,000 years ago and had your C-section in the desert and were Jewish. You got to check to make sure all are out or you're in trouble. That's correct. Yeah, that's the reason that some ladies go into shock when they have babies. And in the old days, it was a common occurrence for women to die during childbirth. And the reason for that was continual bleeding, because they didn't do it right, or they didn't get it all out, or they nicked something in the process. And, of course, they couldn't see it because they didn't have instruments like we have today. And so it was a pretty typical thing. Only the priestly caste. Yeah. Bleed to death. Yes. Yes, for lack of a better word, that's exactly what would happen. But this is just like a handbook for people that don't know better, because believe it or not, they didn't talk about it a whole lot in those days. And if a woman was pregnant, there's a good chance she had no idea what was coming next. Wow. 9'4", huh? 9 pounds, 4 ounces. What is DIC? Were you calling me names? You calling me fat? Who shall offer it before the Lord, the sacrifice we were talking about earlier? Big baby. And make an atonement for her, and she shall be cleansed from the issue of her blood. This is the law for her that hath borne a male or a female. And if she be not able to bring a lamb, then she shall bring 2 turtle doves. That's 2 ninja birds with shells on a half shell. And 2 young pigeons. The one for a burnt offering and the other for a sin offering. And the priest shall make an atonement for her, and she shall be clean. Well, that's comforting. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron, saying, When a man shall have his skin of his flesh arising, a scab or a bright spot, and it be in the skin of his flesh like the plague of leprosy, then he shall be brought unto Aaron the priest, or unto one of his sons the priests. And the priest shall look on the plague in the skin of the flesh, and when the hair in the plague is turned white, and the plague is in sight, be deeper than the skin of his flesh, it is a plague of leprosy. And the priest shall look on him and pronounce him unclean. I don't know if you've ever had leprosy or not, but it's nasty, and you really, really don't want to have it. But if you have it, you need a professional to tell you that's what it is, because there are other things that look like leprosy that isn't. And if you be a leper, you are most certainly not clean, and you can't be involved in the tabernacle business. So you need to go to one of the priests and have him diagnose you, because apparently they knew the differences and the nuances of leprosy. And they would tell you what to do and give you a prescription. And usually that would involve being in a river of some kind with lye and some prayers and some water of different types. Anyway, we'll get there. If the bright spot be white on the skin of his flesh, and in the sight be not deeper than the skin, that means on the surface, and the hair thereof be not turned white, then the priest shall shut up him that hath the plague for 7 days. Why is this? Well, because what he has is clearly not leprosy, because leprosy has a very specific look, and this isn't it. The hair turns white. The skin is white, and it's deep. You can see it down in the flesh, down in the subcutaneous fat and in the muscle, because leprosy is a flesh-eating disease, fasciitis of some kind. Necrotitum fasciitis. I can't remember the word. Anyway, I'm not a doctor, folks. But the point is some things that you contract out in the wilderness can be remedied with just a little time. And this particular thing that looks like leprosy but clearly isn't, if you just wait it out, it'll go away. But you can't expose yourself to other people, or else you could spread and it could turn leprous. So they would shut them up, put them in a room for 7 days, and probably continually wash them until that goes away. And the priest shall look on him the 7th day, and behold, if the plague in his sight be at a stay, or hasn't gotten any worse, and the plague spread not in the skin, then the priest shall shut him up 7 days more, because that means it's working and it's about to go away. And the priest shall look on him again the 7th day, and behold, if the plague be somewhat dark, and the plague be spread not in the skin, the priest shall pronounce him clean, but it is but a scab, and he shall wash his clothes and be clean. Well, sometimes if you skin your knee and it gets a little infected, it's just a little infection. It might be a red around it or whatever. But if it turns white and the hair around it turns white, you're in trouble. You picked up something you shouldn't have. However, if the priest sees it's not so severe, he'll put you away for a little while, and he'll check on you, and then he'll check on you again. And if it's still, it takes about 3 to 5 days for a scab to heal over completely. And so within 7 days, for sure, the flesh has begun to heal, and the white blood cells are doing their job, and the way that a wound heals is from the bottom outwards. It starts inside the flesh and heals upwards like that to the top. And the reason it hurts is because it's your brain saying, hey, this place needs attention, and all the white blood cells go there and start healing it. That's what the pain is about. It doesn't hurt for the sake of hurting. It's hurting so that your body knows what to do with it. And so this is just taking advantage of that natural way of healing by allowing your body to do its work without spreading it to the rest of the people. If that makes any sense. Crap. There we go. But And here's the kicker. If the scab spread much abroad in the skin, after that he hath been seen of the priest for his cleansing, he shall be seen of the priest again, because now it's getting bad. And if the priest see that, behold, the scab spreadeth in the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It's leprosy. Everybody run. It's pandemonium. You need a colony now. Got to get out of here. That's bad news if you got leprosy. It's bad, bad, bad news. When the plague of leprosy is in a man, then he shall be brought unto the priest, and the priest shall see him, and behold, if the rising be white in the skin, and it have turned the hair around it white, and there be quick raw flesh in the rising, meaning you can see the muscle through the sore. It is an old leprosy in the skin of his flesh, meaning you didn't tell anybody about it, you've had it for a while. And the priest shall pronounce him unclean, and shall not shut him up, for he is unclean. You can't do anything about it. You got to get him out of the camp, or he'll spread it to everybody. And if a leprosy break out abroad in the skin, meaning it spreads across the top of the skin, and the leprosy cover all the skin of him that hath the plague, from his head even to his foot, wheresoever the priest looketh, then the priest shall consider, and behold, if the leprosy have covered all his flesh, he shall pronounce him clean that hath the plague. It is all turned white. He is clean, which means the leprosy has run its course. Is leprosy a parasite? I don't think so. I think it's a virus. I'm not really sure how to describe it. I don't think virus is the right word. That may be wrong. Let's find out, because I don't want to mislead you. What is leprosy? No, that's not what I want. All right. Leprosy, also known as Hansen's disease, is a chronic, mildly infectious disease caused by slow-growing bacteria called Microbacterium leprae. Microbacterium leprae. Microbacterium leprae, or M. leprae, multiplies very slowly and with incubation periods of about 3 to 5 years. However, symptoms can take as long as 20 years to appear. It can take effect in the nerves, in the eyes, in the skin, and in the mucous membranes of the upper respiratory tract. That's what leprosy is. It is a bacteria. Help you out? Good. All right. But when the raw flesh appeareth in him, he shall be unclean. That's where you can see the muscle and the subcutaneous fat through the sore. And the priest shall see the raw flesh and pronounce him to be unclean, for the raw flesh is unclean. It is a leprosy. This was a problem in those days, by the way. You're scaring me. Ugh, that's really tragic. And horticulture? Thinking, what? It's horrific thinking about it. Horrific, I meant. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I just read it. Too. Well, it's good to share. Everybody needs to know what it is. And the reason that it's so prominent in the Bible is because it was a problem in those days and in that area. And there's still, to this day, there are leper colonies in that area because it's still a problem. And it is a bacteria that is local to that area and in other places, and people have spread it over the years by moving to different places, but it comes from that region of the world. And so in those days, you could die or lose a finger or whatever. Or if the raw flesh turn again, meaning it started to go away, but now it's getting worse, and be changed unto white, he shall come unto the priest, and the priest shall see him, and behold, if the plague be turned into white, then the priest shall pronounce him clean. That hath the plague, he is clean. Meaning, again, that the bacteria has run its course. Oh, a body part just fell off. Yep. Hey, is that your finger? It can be cured today if caught early. Yes. There's a lot of things we can do today that we couldn't do back then, like penicillin. If the flesh also, in which even if the skin thereof was a boil and is healed, meaning if you lanced it or drained it somehow and now it's healing, and in the place of a boil there be a white rising or a bright spot, white and somewhat reddish, and it be showed to the priest, and if, when the priest seeth it, behold, it be in sight lower than the skin, and the hair thereof be turned white, the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is the plague of leprosy broken out of the boil. Now, I don't know if you've ever had a boil, but that is a form of leprosy. Only today, with the types of soaps and the types of cleanliness habits that we have, and the way the world works now, and clothing and that sort of thing, bathing habits, it rarely ever turns into leprosy. It rarely ever leaves the boil. In fact, most of the time, if you get a boil, you'll lance it, drain it out, wipe it off, clean it, and you're done. But in those days, if you had a boil, you might be in serious trouble, because there was no real way to clean it properly. Rome gave us sanitation. They gave us a few things. That had to be rough to hang. Yep. But if the priest look on it, and behold, there be no white hairs therein, and if it be not lower than the skin, but somewhat be dark, then the priest shall shut him up 7 days. And if it spread much abroad in the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a plague. But if the bright spot stay in its place and spread not, it is a burning boil, and the priest shall pronounce him clean. Dude, you're just nasty. You ain't got the plague, though. You're good. Go lance that thing and move on. Or if there be any flesh in the skin whereof there is a hot burning. You done been with something you shouldn't have been with. And you use a penicillin, and you need a doctor right now. And the quick flesh that burneth have a white bright spot, somewhat reddish or white. Then the priest shall look upon it, and behold, if the hair in the bright spot be turned white, and that means that the flesh is dying, by the way, and it be in sight deeper than the skin, it is a leprosy broken out of the burning. Wherefore the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is the plague of leprosy. But if the priest look on it, and behold, there be no white hair in the bright spot, and it be no lower than the other skin, but be somewhat dark, then the priest shall shut him up 7 days, and the priest shall look upon him in the 7th day, and if it be spread much abroad in the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a plague of leprosy. And if the bright spot stay in its place, and spread not in the skin, but it be somewhat dark, it is a rising of the burning, and the priest shall pronounce him clean, for it is an inflammation of the burning. If a man or a woman have a plague upon the head or the beard, that's around the mouth, then the priest shall see the plague, and behold, if it be in the sight deeper than the skin, and there be in it a yellow thin hair, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a dry scall, even a leprosy upon the head or the beard. That's worse than the leprosy on the body, by the way. because it's in your mouth. That means you've been doing things with your mouth you probably shouldn't have been doing. Ooh. What you talking about, ATL? If the doc had to give you a second shot, he would not warm it up. He would inject it cold to teach you. I don't know what you mean, but that sucks. And if the priest look on the plague of the skull, or the face, and behold, it be not in sight deeper than the skin, and there is no black hair in it, then the priest shall shut him up that hath the plague of the skull 7 days. And in the 7th day the priest shall look on the plague, and behold, if the skull spread not, and there is no yellow hair, and the skull be not in the sight deeper than the skin, he shall be shaven. And that's, by the way, very disrespectful in those days. The beard meant everything. You had to have a filthy beard, or else you were not seen as a man. So if you were walking around clean shaven in those days, they would laugh at you. They would not respect you. It would be bad. Impetigo. Oh, I got you. That's infantigo, right? What you're trying to write? Infantigo, which is kind of a leprosy type thing. He shall be shaven, but the skull shall he not shave. Leave the affected area with hair, but don't let any other hair be there, or it'll spread. So apparently it lives on the hair. And the priest shall shut him up that hath the skull 7 days more. And in the 7th day the priest shall look on the skull, and behold, if the skull be not spread in the skin, nor be in sight deeper than the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him clean. He shall wash his clothes and be clean. Leprosy of the face, yes. The shot of penicillin, if you warm it up, it doesn't hurt when you inject it. But if the penicillin is cold, it hurts bad. So docs always gave the second time cold to teach you a lesson. I got you. Makes sense. But if the skull spread much in the skin after his cleansing, then the priest shall look on him, and behold, if the skull be spread in the skin, the priest shall not seek for the yellow hair. You don't even have to look. He's unclean. But if the skull be in his sight at a stay, meaning it hasn't spread and it doesn't look any worse, and there is a black hair grown up therein, the skull is healed, and he is clean, and the priest shall pronounce him clean. This is for the sake of the community, by the way, because everybody's wondering, are we going to get sick by hanging around this dude or what? The priest has to come out and make it official. Everybody knows everybody's business. What if the person is allergic to penicillin? That would be bad. They have alternatives, April. Yeah, penicillin ain't the only type of antibiotic. It's just the most convenient, easiest to get. If a man also or a woman have in the skin of their flesh bright spots, even white bright spots, then the priest shall look, and behold, if the bright spots in the skin of their flesh be darkish white. What is dark white? Isn't that gray? It is a freckled spot that groweth in the skin. He is clean. And the man whose hair is fallen off his head, he is bald, yet he is clean. And he that hath his hair fallen off from the part of his head towards the face, he is forehead bald, yet he is clean. He's forehead bald. I'm forehead bald. Look how high my forehead is. It goes way up here. forehead bald. That's hilarious. I don't think I caught that the last time I read this. He's forehead bald. Nah, you're forehead bald. And if there be in the bald head or bald forehead, because you're weird if you got a forehead baldness. That's funny that they separate that too. I don't know why that's funny to me, but it's funny. Compose yourself, Jake. Stop it. If there be in the bald head or the bald forehead, white reddish sore, it is a leprosy sprung up in his bald head or his bald forehead. I'm sorry, Lord. Forgive me. You just thought that was part of his genetics? Well, they speak of it a lot, don't they? Yes. Well, you know, the Bible, and I've said this before, every question you could ever ask, the answer to it is in the Bible. It is not only a history book. It is not only a guide to teach you how to find salvation. It is not only a lesson plan to instruct you in the ways of your religion, but it's also a handbook on how to live. It has everything you need to know to live a clean, safe, healthy life, all in the pages of the Bible and all written 5,000 years ago, respectively. Not all at once, but over the 2,000-year period that it was written by several different writers, quite a few actually. So, it's a normal thing to miss these things when you read the Bible because most people don't pay that much of attention, which is why we're doing this, because it's important to know that everything is in the Bible, everything. You just have to know how to look at it. You have to rightly divide the Word of God, and all your questions can be answered. It's how you act if you want God to come back. That's right, ATL. If you want God to show up, you need to do what's in this book. If everyone followed all those laws, God would come back to us. It is his instructions on how to get him to come. Well, there's a prescription already in place. He's going to come back at his time already. But when he comes back, he expects his bridegroom to be waiting, which means he expects everybody to know what's up. That's not going to happen, but that's what he wants. And you're absolutely very close to the correct by making it statement that way. But he's going to come back whether you do what he tells you to or not. That's what judgment's all about. But a smart person would do what he says do. Because if daddy ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. Then the priest shall look upon it, and behold, if the rising of the sore be white reddish, and his bald head or his bald forehead, as the leprosy appeareth in the skin of the flesh, he is a leprous man, he is unclean. The priest shall pronounce him utterly unclean, his plague is in his head. Not metaphorically, literally. Meaning he ain't getting out of it. He's going to lose a finger for sure. Yes, it will be forced the other way. Unfortunately. And the leper in whom the plague is, his clothes shall be rent or torn to pieces, and his head bare, and he shall put a covering upon his upper lip, and shall cry, unclean, unclean. Why put the covering over the upper lip? I'll tell you why. Because when you speak, spittle comes out of your mouth. Or when you breathe, fluid comes out of your nose in a mist. If you sneeze in a room that's got a lot of sunlight, you can see it happen. Big cloud of spit comes out. If you're out there yelling, unclean, unclean, despite your best efforts to keep people away from you, unless you have something covering your upper lip to keep the spittle from coming out of your mouth, you're going to infect everybody. So that's the purpose for that. all the days wherein the plague shall be in him, he shall be defiled. He is unclean. He shall dwell alone without the camp, shall his habitation be. Because he's very contagious and he needs to get away from everybody. The garment also that the plague of leprosy is in, whether it be a woolen garment or a linen garment, whether it be in the warp or woof of linen or woolen, whether in a skin or anything made of skin, and if the plague be greenish or reddish in the garment or in the skin, either in the warp or in the woof or in anything of skin, it is a plague of leprosy, and shall be showed unto the priest. And the priest shall look upon the plague, and shut it up that hath the plague 7 days. And he shall look on the plague on the 7th day, and if the plague be spread in the garment, either in the warp, or in the woof, or in the skin, or in any work that is made of skin, the plague is a fretting leprosy. It is unclean. Here's a better policy. If you got clothes that have an issue in it from your leprosy, burn it. Get some new clothes. It ain't worth saving because you run the risk of infecting somebody or reinfecting yourself. And clearly, leprosy can function without a human body attached. So it's a bacteria that can thrive outside of the body or on the body or in the body. You don't want to get any of that on you is what I'm saying. It's a fretting leprosy, which means it terrifies everybody because it's so easy to catch. And it is unclean and will defile you. He shall therefore burn his garments, whether warp or woof, in woolen or in linen, or in anything of skin wherein the plague is, for it is a fretting leprosy, and it shall be burnt in the fire. Well, you should do that to start with instead of putting it in your house for 7 days to see if it spreads. Think, people. Well, I guess if it's an expensive garment, maybe you want to check it out. But, don't put it in your house. Come on, man. And if the priest shall look, and behold, the plague be not spread in the garment, either in the warp or the woof, or in anything of skin, then the priest shall command that they wash the thing wherein the plague is, and contaminate all the water. No, he didn't say that. Wash the thing wherein the plague is, and he shall shut it up for 7 days more. And the priest shall look on the plague after that it is washed. And behold, if the plague have not changed its color, and the plague be not spread, it is unclean. Thou shalt burn it in the fire. Why would you put that in the water? I'm hoping they're using a river and not like a basin that they'll reuse for something else. Yeah. It is a fret inward, whether it be bare within or without. Just burn it with fire, man. You can get new pants. And if the priest look and behold the plague be somewhat dark after the washing of it, then he shall rend it out of the garment, or out of the skin, or out of the warp or the woof. And if it appear still in the garment, either in the warp or in the woof, or in anything of skin, it is a spreading plague. Thou shalt burn that wherein the plague is with fire. Just do that to start with. Save you the trouble. That's all I'm saying. A little preemptive thinking goes a long way. An ounce of prevention and whatnot. And the garment, either warp or woof, or whatsoever thing of skin it be, which thou shalt wash, if the plague be departed from them, then it shall be washed the 2nd time, and shall be clean. I'm not wearing it. You can wash it if you want to, but I'm not wearing it. This is the law of the plague of leprosy in the garment of woolen or linen, either in the warp or the woof, or anything of skins. To pronounce it clean or to pronounce it unclean, this is the law. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, This shall be the law of the leper in the day of his cleansing. He shall be brought unto the priest, And the priest shall go forth out of the camp, and the priest shall look, and behold, if the plague of leprosy be healed in the leper, then shall the priest command to take for him that is to be cleaned 2 birds alive and clean, a cedar wood and scarlet and hyssop. Hyssop is a weed that kind of looks like a sponge, I think. I might have that confused. I think hyssop is a weed that has little flowers on it. Let me look. There's another thing that looks like a sponge. Let's see what hyssop is. What is hyssop? Yeah, it's got little flowers on it. It's a small, busty, aromatic plant of the mint family, the bitter, minty leaves of which are used for cooking and herbal medicine. So it's a plant that has medicinal properties. That's what a hyssop is. I have that confused with another thing. Sorry. Where am I at? And hyssop. And the priest shall command that one of the birds be killed in the earthen vessel over running water. As for the living bird, he shall take it, and the cedar wood, and the scarlet, and the hyssop, and shall dip them and the living bird in the blood of the bird that was killed over the running water. And he shall sprinkle upon him that is to be cleansed from the leprosy 7 times, and shall pronounce him clean, and shall let the living bird loose into the open field. Okay. This sounds a little bit like magic. Magic is not a thing that exists in the Bible or in reality. Magic is a form of trickery. There's another type of thing that we call magic that is actually paganism, which means to use herbs or to use the forest. Apothecaries are full of these types of things. What is going on here is a ritual of obedience. The blood is what does the cleansing with the hyssop, which is medicinal in nature. The running water, the blood, and the hyssop, and the living, clean bird, which then takes the infection. How they do it, I don't know exactly. I might rub it on him, whatever. But they're trying to give the bird the infection, get rid of it, and then cleanse the body with the cedar wood. I'm assuming they're using it like a scrubber. And the scarlet is to tie the bird to the wood so that they can dip it in the blood, I think. Sounds a little hooey to me, but that's what God said do, so do it. I don't really know what to think about that verse. I'll leave that to your discretion. And he that is to be cleansed shall wash his clothes and shave off all his hair and wash himself in water, and he may be clean. And after that he shall come into the camp and shall tarry abroad out of his tent for 7 days, meaning he can't go back into his room for 7 days. Why? Because there's undoubtedly something unclean in his room, and it needs to die before he can go back in there, or it'll get him again. But it shall be on the 7th day that he shall shave all his hair off of his head, and his beard, and his eyebrows, even all his hair he shall shave off, and he shall wash his clothes, and also he shall wash his flesh with water, and he shall be clean. Now you got to understand where they're at for this to make sense. They're near the Jordan River. Okay. And that river has an overabundance of a natural lye. We buy lye from a company called Red Devil today. And but basically what lye is soap. So when they wash their clothing in the waters of that river, It's a natural cleaner for their clothing and for their skin and for whatever. So to wash in the water would help cleanse the leprosy. You can look into that if you like. There are several verses in the Bible that talk about dipping oneself or washing oneself in the waters, talking about the Jordan River. And the reason that works is because there's a high amount of natural lye in the water. And on the 8th day, he shall take 2 he-lambs without blemish, and 1 ewe lamb of the first year. Ewe means young, without blemish, and 3 tenth deals of fine flour for a meat offering mingled with oil, and 1 log of oil. And the priest that maketh him clean shall present the man that is to be made clean and those things before the Lord at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, not inside. And the priest shall take 1 he-lamb and offer him for a trespass offering and the log of oil, and wave them for a wave offering before the Lord. Now, why is this? Well, because there ain't but a couple of ways you get that kind of leprosy. And one of them is doing something you ought not to be doing, you know what I'm saying? So I'm guessing really hard here, but I think that's what the trespass offering is about. The wave offering is just thanking the Lord for doing what he does. And he shall slay the lamb in the place where he shall kill the sin offering and the burnt offering in the holy place. For as the sin offering is the priest's, so is the trespass offering. It is most holy. And the priest shall take some of the blood of the trespass offering, and the priest shall put it upon the tip of the right ear of him that is to be cleansed, and upon the thumb of his right hand, and upon the great toe of his right foot. This is symbolic. They did this also when they were sanctifying the high priests for their job. This was one of the rituals. They would put the blood on the ear, the finger, and the toe of the right side. And this is symbolic of something, obviously. And the remnant of the oil that is in the priest's hand, he shall pour upon the head of him that is to be cleansed. This is anointing him with the oil. And the priest shall make an atonement for him before the Lord. Why? Because he did something sinful to get that disease, and now he's being cleaned and forgiven at the same time. And the priest shall offer the sin offering and make an atonement for him that is to be cleansed from the uncleanness. And afterward he shall kill the burnt offering, and the priest shall offer the burnt offering and the meat offering upon the altar. And the priest shall make an atonement for him, and he shall be clean. Isn't that toxic to skin? If it's pure, yes. Surely it burns limestone. It'll burn the skin. Yes, if it's pure. But you got to remember it's diluted heavily in the waters. So it's no more potent than dish soap, but probably less so than that. Not so much that it would suds up, but enough that it would be beneficial for cleaning. There's a lot of water in there, too. And if he be poor and he cannot get so much, meaning he can't afford the things that are required of him to bring for a sacrifice, then he shall take 1 lamb for a trespass offering to be waved, to make an atonement for him, and 1/10 deal of fine flour, mingled with oil for a meat offering, and a log of oil. A log is a container. And 2 turtle doves or a young pigeon. They don't have to be ninja, but they have to be doves, such as he be able to get. And the one shall be a sin offering, and the other a burnt offering. And he shall bring them on the 8th day for his cleansing unto the priest, unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation before the Lord. This is very interesting, but totally not something I'm interested in. And the priest shall take the lamb of the trespass offering and the log of oil, and the priest shall wave them for a wave offering before the Lord. And he shall kill the lamb of the trespass offering, and the priest shall take some of the blood of the trespass offering, and put it upon the tip of his right ear of him that is to be cleansed, and upon the thumb of his right hand, and upon the great toe of his right foot. I feel like I've read this before. And the priest shall pour out of the oil into the palm of his own left hand, and the priest shall sprinkle with his right finger some of the oil that is in his left hand 7 times before the Lord. And the priest shall put of the oil that is in his hand upon the tip of the right ear of him that is to be cleansed, and upon the thumb of the right hand, and upon the great toe of his right foot. That's blood and oil, by the way. Upon the place of the blood of the trespass offering. And the rest of the oil that is in the priest's hand he shall put upon the head of him that is to be cleansed, symbolically of anointing him, making him holy, to make an atonement for him before the Lord. Lye is poor man's body disposal acid, so I hear. Lye won't do it. But used for laundry in small amounts back in the day, and still to this day. If you go buy a box of Tide, it has lye in it. But lye will not dispose of a body, I'm sorry. You could use, what is it? Not muriatic acid, the other one. Muriatic acid will just burn, but it won't dispose. I can't think of the name of it. You don't really need to know these things anyway. It does in the movies. Well, the movies are wrong. If you don't believe me, get you a box of lye and pour it out into your hand and see if you lose a hand. Hydrochloric acid, thank you. Or a pen of hungry hogs. That's more to my speed. I think that would work better. You wouldn't even have teeth left. There'd be nothing left. They'd eat everything. This is the law of him in whom the plague of leprosy is, whose hand is not able to get that which pertaineth to his cleansing, which means he's poor, can't afford the actual stuff. Caustic, yes. Hey, Julie, nice to see you. Welcome to the show. We're talking about leprosy. Yay. Whoa, that's scary. Yeah, it is. Terrifying. And the Lord spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, when ye be come into the land of Canaan, that's the promised land, that's where they're headed right now. They hadn't got there yet. Which I give to you for a possession. And I put the plague of leprosy in a house of the land of your possession. And he that owneth the house shall come and tell the priest, saying, it seemeth to me there is as it were a plague in the house. Then the priest shall command that they empty the house before the priest go in to see the plague, that all that is in the house be not made unclean. So apparently what it's saying is leprosy can spread even if it's not on you. So you want to empty your house out quickly so that the rest of the house doesn't get nasty. Afterwards the priest shall go in to see the house, and he shall look on the plague, and behold, if the plague be in the walls of the house, with hollow strakes, greenish or reddish, which is in sight or lower than the wall, then the priest shall go out of the house to the door of the house, and shut it up for 7 days. And the priest shall come again the 7th day, and shall look, and behold, if the plague be spread in the walls of the house, then the priest shall command that they take away the stones in which the plague is, and they shall cast them into an unclean place without the city. And he shall cause the house to be scraped within round about, and they shall pour out the dust that they scrape off without the city into an unclean place. And they shall take other stones and put them in place of those stones that they took out. And he shall take other mortar and shall plaster the house, meaning they rebuild the house. They tear it down to the studs, scrape all the studs, and then put the new stones in place because you can't get rid of it. It's in the walls. It's bad. But I want to go back up because we read something that we just kind of passed over, and I think it's important that I point it out. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron, saying, when ye be come into the land of Canaan, that's the promised land. That's where they're going. They're in the desert now. They left Egypt. They're wandering in the desert. They hadn't got there yet. God says, when you get there to the place which I give you for a possession, that's the promised land, and I put the plague of leprosy in the house of the land of your possession. Do you see what's happening there? God is saying he put the leprosy there. Right there. That's a very important line because this is clearly a punishment of some kind. This is not a natural thing. This is something God put in place for a specific reason. And then he gives you a whole list of things to do for it, including some hooey stuff that sounded a lot like a spell because it's a ritualistic thing that requires obedience to do. Right? That's the purpose. That's the reason. The things don't matter. What matters is you do it the way God said do it. Right? So that's a very important line, and I don't want you to miss that. God put the leprosy there. It's not there on its own. It didn't get there by some misdeed or some whatever, mishap. It's there because somebody did something wrong, and God put it there to punish them for it. And if the plague come again and break out in the house, after that he hath taken away the stones, and after he hath scraped the house, and after it is plastered again, then the priest shall come and look, and behold, if the plague be spread in the house, it is a fretting leprosy in the house, and it is unclean. Burn it down, is what I'm saying. And he shall break down the house, the stones of it, and the timber thereof, and all the mortar of the house, and he shall carry them forth out of the city into an unclean place, and probably catch leprosy in the process because he's touching all that unclean stuff. I say burn it down. Get rid of it. Get it out of here. A little preemptive thought goes a long way, an ounce of prevention and whatnot. Ounce of prevention is a pound of cure. Moreover, he that goeth into the house all the while that it is shut up shall be unclean until evening. And he that lieth in the house shall wash his clothes, and he shall eateth in the house. He that eateth in the house shall wash his clothes. I'm saying if you're eating in a house that's covered with leprosy, you got worse problems than laundry. You probably need to see a priest and a doctor and a couple of hookers or something. And if the priest shall come in and look upon it, and behold, the plague hath not spread in the house after the house was replastered, then the priest shall pronounce the house clean, because the plague is healed. Goodness gracious. And he shall take to cleanse the house 2 birds, and cedar wood, and scarlet, and hyssop. This sounds familiar. And he shall kill the one of the birds in the earthen vessel over running water. And he shall take the cedar wood, and the hyssop, and the scarlet, and the living bird, and dip them in the blood of the slain bird, and in the running water, and sprinkle the house 7 times. And he shall cleanse the house with the blood of the bird, with the running water, and with the living bird, and with the cedar wood, and with the hyssop, and with the scarlet. But he shall let go the living bird out of the city into the open fields, and make an atonement for the house. It shall be clean. So you torture a bird and then let him go. And also use some ointment made of hyssop and running water, which is clean and minty, and blood, because blood covers sin. So this is a allegorical thing that you're doing here. It is a ritualistic function. The blood covers the sin like in a sacrifice. And the mint helps to treat. And the water disperses the mint. And the living bird is being tortured for some reason. And the dead bird provides the blood. And there you go. You have a sacrifice that causes the cleanliness to happen. Weird. Glad we don't have that problem today. This is the law for all manner of plagues of leprosy. And scall. That's a different type of leprosy. And for the leprosy of a garment, and of a house, and for a rising, and for a scab, and for a bright spot, to teach when it is unclean. Why are we learning all this stuff? So that you'll learn when you're unclean and when you are clean. This is the law of leprosy. Now you know. And if you ever get leprosy, you can come back to this book and you can confer with it and know what to do. And that will fix it. Maybe a little unorthodox, but I assure you it'll work. If you don't believe me, go get leprosy and then try it. I don't recommend that, but you could do so. I disagree, but I got me a washer and no more laundromats. Amen, brother. What do you disagree with? Oh, and by the way, that's where we're going to stop for today. We'll pick up tomorrow, 15:1, and find out the rest of the laws of uncleanness and cleanness. What an intense read tonight. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. I hope you found a way to be clean and to keep your pee-pee clean. That's always important. Wash under your arms. Do that. Anyway, won't you do me a favor before we continue? Take a moment and hit that subscribe button and press the bell icon so you get notifications of when I'm going to be online. Smash that like button. It's free. It's right in front of you. It takes no effort at all, and it really does help the channel with the algorithms, and it helps us get recommended to other people. Share this video with somebody you love. Better yet, share it with somebody you don't love. Bring them into the family. Make them part of the fold. Be part of their solutions, not part of their problems. Leave comments down below. Let me know what you're thinking about. Question me, curse me, bless me, challenge me, confront me, conform with me, drink my Kool-Aid, make your own Kool-Aid. As long as you're thinking critical, that's what I want. Critical thought coming from that brain of yours. And hey, if you love the Word of God and you can see the value in what I'm trying to build here and you'd like to be part of that, or if you feel led by God to send your tithes, offerings, and love offerings to where you're taught, or if you'd just like to pat me on the back and say, hey, nice job, Jake, I'm with you. You can do that. You can support my work by going to paypal.me/jakejohnsonband. Or if you're a CashApp user, you can go to $JakeJohnsonBand. Every little bit helps. It's a win-win. It's a blessing for me. But it's a blessing for you too, because God does notice these things. We do live in a reciprocal universe. You know, ask and you shall be answered. Knock and it shall be opened unto you. Give and you shall receive. You see, you have to initiate. That's how it works. God already initiated his part by making you. Then he told you what to do. Now it's your job to do it. So, I appreciate you. I thank you. And I will do everything in my power to be worthy of your support. And now, I will answer all of your questions and comments by continuing this video. Very intense. It was very educational and scary, says April. And I agree with you 100%. Terrifying. I'm really glad I've never had leprosy. But I did have impetigo one time. Because I got burnt in the face with a cigarette and it just didn't heal. Bullies. Yeah, I'm a tough scrapper. That's how I grew up. What do you think? I also got burnt by a curling ironer one time. Never forgot that. I was very young. And it was very painful. But I survived. Know anything about that? Burning somebody with a curling ironer for spite? I'm just teasing. I don't care. I'm sorry. I hate to bring that up occasionally, but I got to give you some ribbon somehow. You know who you are. I enjoyed the read tonight. It was a little weird, but I liked it. What say you? Any questions, comments, criticisms, catharses? Anything else that starts with a C? Fill your hand. It's time to get some learning done. Hey, Kev. I didn't see you walk in. You snuck up on me. How are you today, sir? Sounds like song lyrics. What does? I like song lyrics. I write them all the time. I'm sorry. I know, baby. I'm just teasing you. It's long water under the bridge. And it wasn't even a problem then. Just a thing kids do. But I like teasing you about it because it's funny. I was a kid, so was I. Chat lags too much. I'm sorry. I got it set on ultra low latency. I don't know what else to do. I do apologize. But I'm doing the best I can. I read it when I see it. Mean I was. Ha. I'm sorry. It's not funny. It's hilarious. And you shouldn't think anything else about it. Don't feel bad about it at all. I'm just ribbing you. Honestly, it doesn't bother me at all. Never did. It didn't even bother me that bad at the time. It was just hot. I probably thought I deserved it. I do have a nice little scar on my hip, though. But it's sexy, so it's good. Women like scars, by the way, fellas. Means you've been places, you've done things, and you fought hard doing it. It burns so good. Yeah. She was a little dominatrix, I'm telling you. She sure taught me not to get close to somebody with a curling ironer. I'm busy in the background. No cat on my tongue. That was odd. I hope there's no cat on your tongue. That would be weird. And you would be talking funny. I burnt myself, and it was not good at all. Well, my cousin and probably my sister, there was 2 or 3 girls in the room. I don't remember who they were now. They were all in their room curling their hair. And I was just a little boy, and I wanted to be part of something, so I was in there pestering them, I'm sure. And I jumped up on the bed and probably messed up what they were doing, and April just turned around and stuck the curling iron to my leg and burnt the piss out of me. And I learned, don't mess with the girls when they're curling their hair. Very valuable lesson. I did that when Mama told me not to. You just learn to feel it. For myself, so stupid I was. It was not stupid. I don't know what you were trying to say there, but it's no big deal, really. It's a long time ago, and I've never held any animosity toward you for it, ever. I just like ribbing you about it. But it was not stupid. It was just childish shit. Kids do things like that. And I probably should have been jumping on your bed. That means no cat got your tongue. Oh, I got you. Versus usual yammer. I'm too florid instead of just stating things. I got you. Lay it on me, Montana. Tell me what you're thinking. I don't care. Worst burn I got was from pumping gas at a gas station. Checking this guy's oil, and his oil spout came out with oil stick. So when I went to replace it, I stuck my hand on the block. Ooh, I bet that did burn. I've touched a hot tailpipe before. That's not pleasant. April says, everyone don't forget to hit that like button and show Jake some love, and I love you very much. Forgive me, Jake. You were forgiven when it happened, baby. Don't even think about it. You know I love you. You're my favorite cousin. And my favorite girl, by the way. And I know lots of those. So, you're doing good. All right. Touch hot stuff like the stove for the cigarette lighter thing. Things like that, yeah. Yep. I've lit my cigarette on stoves before. Well, there's one thing I know for sure. I've spent the entirety of my life accruing a vast amount of supremely high knowledge. And in all the wisdom and integrity that I have garnished throughout my life, I have come to a very important conclusion, and it's this. I really have to pee. So if you guys will listen to this song for just a minute and look at this ad for a second, let me go handle some business. I'll be right back. In the back. That didn't take very long, did it? Hey, AJ, welcome to the show. Good to see you. You always come in after I finish reading. What's up with that? How are you? I hope you're doing well. I hope you're not too cold out there. I love you, true too, sweetheart. Thank you. You are the wind beneath my wings. What is the origins of this intermission riff? Your theme music. A song? Just rocking and rolling, man. There's no song there. It's just jamming. And I got it from somewhere, some library of free music. I spend a great deal of time to find things that other people aren't using much of. How are you, AJ? Says April. Hello, Jake. Much kissy faces. Much kissy faces back at you. Not well, my friend. Aw, what's wrong? What can I do to help? Tell me what ails you, see if I can't fix it. Or at least pray about it. He can fix it, that's for sure. If you like that music, though, MVTV, I'll send it to you. Oh. You got it. MVTV says, grace her way. I'm trying not to drink coffee today. Well, that's a terrible idea. Well, why would you even do that? It's going pretty good so far, but I keep staring at my coffee cup. I'm going to have a cup of coffee after this podcast is over. I advise you to do the same. I'm sorry, Ajod. I've recently been through this very same thing, and I understand what you're going through. And let me just tell you that you have friends. I know you already know that, and you already have other friends in other places, but here you have friends. And if you ever need anything, if you just need to talk or just vent, we're here to listen. We're here to help in any way we can. And I apologize for what you have to go through, but be strong, trust in God, and know that His divine presence is always there. Julie says, I'm sorry, Ajot. Oh my God, honey, says April. We all love you. My doctors can't tell me what's wrong with me, but keeps asking for more blood. Well, you tell them you ain't got but so much. Use what you got. I hope there's nothing wrong with you. But I'll include you in my prayers. Maybe a second opinion is worthwhile, says MVTV. Ajot says, honestly, many people are just people, but here I always know family is here. Right. I consider you family. If you've been in this podcast more than a couple of times, I consider you close, and I am thinking about you. And so is everybody else here, by the way. I'm very selective of who I keep around me. And these people have all been tried and tested, and they're all good people. Same here as Fab Daddy. Whoa, geez, love and prayers. God be with you and your family. I'll keep you close in my heart and praying immensely. Love, says April. There'll be a lot of that going on, I promise you that. And you're welcome. No thanks needed. We're here for you. It's in times like this that people need a community, because community means strength, and it means safety, and it means comfort, and it means knowing that things are taken care of. So I've been endeavoring over the past couple of years to build a community worth having. And I consider each and every one of you in this chat to be part of that community. And I hope you feel the same way. And if you don't, I hope you do shortly, because you won't last long if you don't. Because the Lord has a way of weeding out the weak. And we don't want any weakness in this community. We want people who love each other and who care about the future and who care about doing the right stuff. And none of us are perfect. We're all going to screw up. We're all going to be less than. We're all going to make mistakes. We're all going to slide. And that is perfectly acceptable. I'm no judge. I'm no jury. And I'm probably the first one to make the mistake. But know this. We all have to try to do something, or else life ain't worth living. There's no point in being here unless you're not going to try to make it a better one than you started with. So I hope that helps in some small way to know that there are people that have your back. And that goes for everybody here. And yes, I walk with the Lord by my side. Shoot, I wouldn't be here if I wasn't. That's right. I agree with you 100%. I will make a prescription, though. Tomorrow night, if you happen to drop by at 8:30. Catch some of the read. I have a feeling it'll help. Fab Daddy says, I was being kind today and listened to some of the reading. I listened to some of the reading. Well, thank you, sir. And I appreciate you. Be right back, says April. I have devoted my gift, my voice, to be the voice of reason in the 1A and mental health community. That's fantastic. They probably need somebody with a little sanity in that area. And I think you'll do just fine. It's a good thing to give yourself to something, a higher cause. I don't know that everybody can do that. The world has people in it that I call non-player characters. I'm not the one that named them. I just used the phrase. But a non-player character is a person in a video game that has a prescribed set of actions, and they do that same thing over and over again. No matter how many times you encounter them, they're run by the computer. They have no autonomy of their own. You're the player, and they're just things that you react to. And there are people like that in the world. You can spot them a mile away. They all do the same thing. They all look the same way. They all dress the same way. They all say the same words. There's a lot of that. But then there are individual people with a personality, a frame that's outside of the norm, a thing that looks a little different than everything else. People like this guy, people like that lady, they're different. Those people, the people I'm talking about here, us, we are called to do something, not just sit here, not just let the world wash over us as we go through life. You have a job to do. Now, what that job is up to you, but you have a job to do. You have to find something above yourself and commit to it to make life worth living for the rest of us, because it takes everybody. You're not here by yourself. And that's something I think a lot of people, especially in today's society with this me movement that's gone on in the last 20 years or so, they miss that. You're not here by yourself. You're surrounded by people who need you. You're surrounded by people who you're connected to through community, through bloodlines, through social hierarchies, through whatever, family. There's people everywhere, and they all need somebody, and you are one of them. So, find that thing that speaks to you. Find that thing that you feel pushed towards, and do it, and do it well. Learn everything you can learn. Make as much weight as you can, make as many waves as you can make. Make your life valuable. And that is the best thing you can do for a community, because without that, the world is a pretty lame place and nothing is really happening. I felt a push all my life to do what I'm doing now. It took me 45 years to make the decision to do it. Now, when I made the decision to do it, I laid down my freedom. I laid down my autonomy, and I said, yes, sir, I'll do it. I'll do what I'm told. And I want you to know this, and I'm testifying here. I have not needed a thing since I started. Now, there have been many times in my life I've been hungry. There have been many times in my life I've been without cigarettes. I've been without gas. I've been broke down on the side of the road. I've been sick. I've been hungry. I said hungry twice for a reason. I have not had that problem since I started doing what I was told. Every time I need $1, I find $1 somewhere. It comes. It just happens. I didn't do it. It just happens. Every time I need food, there it is. Every time I need a ride, there it is. Every time I need a friend, there they are. God will take care of you, but you have to be obedient. And you know in your heart right now, I'm talking to you. You know what you're being told to do. You can feel it. You can smell it. You dream about it. You think about it. You put it off. You pretend you don't hear it, but you know good and damn well you hear it. So listen. Pick up your cross and carry it already. And when you do that, I promise you with all of my heart, God will take care of you. He will provide what you need. He will provide what you need. That's not to say that everything will be easy. That's not to say that you'll get everything you want. But you'll have what you need, and I promise you that. Try me. Prove me wrong. Show me I don't know what I'm talking about. Take a week and make a decision to do something and see if it doesn't work the way I'm telling you it will. Rant over. Sorry. That came over me all of a sudden. I had to get it off my chest. Amen. Yes, sir. Exactly. Thank you, ma'am. I have a striking feeling we are all about to become soldiers in the greatest battles. I think you're right, buddy. Take that how you will. I take it exactly how you meant it. We are on the precipice of a war. That war is a spiritual war, but it's a war nonetheless. More like slaves, MVTV. Perhaps so in some ways. Yeah. I'm back, says April. You missed a lot. Yes, sir. And go figure, Social Security paid 3 days early for some unknown reason, says MVTV, allowing me to buy groceries and run to, I don't know what you mean by that. And hopefully back before the sub-zero. Just shocked. Well, didn't I tell you that would happen, MVTV? I want you to do something for me. Now that you got what's coming to you. I want you to think of a thing, and I want you to go get that thing from wherever you get it from, and I want you to give it to someone else for free. No questions asked. Hand it to them and walk away. Whatever the thing is that pops in your mind right now, go get it right now and give it to somebody you come in contact with. Why? Because you owe it. That's why. If you would, please. Why am I telling you that? Because I was told that, and I'm just relaying the message. This isn't coming from me, so don't get mad at me. The day I let go and let God has changed my life. Amen. Praise the Lord. I'm glad of that. April says, hey, Jot, I know it's hard. All I can tell you is keep faith. Keep talking and trusting in God. And remember, you're going to gain your angel. And you already have us here. Love you. That was sweet, April. Thank you. When faith starts affecting the feds, ? I think we'll be okay. And as a wise man noted, you may not get what you want, but you get what you need. Oh, yeah. Amen, says April. I misspelled allowing me to travel 40 miles to a real grocery store before the big freeze. Then I can stay safe at home. That's right. I kind of got what you were saying, but that last line was a little weird, and I didn't want to assume what you were meaning. April, yes, ma'am. It never fails when I'm on the last day of food or the last dollar. I am blessed in one way or another the following day. And that is a testimony worth repeating. Everybody should read that and just let it sink in because it's true. I'm telling you for a fact it's true. It happens to me every day. Every day. I don't have anything except me. I'm here by myself. I don't have anything. But everything I need is provided. Everything. I can't ask for more. I'm as happy as I can be under the circumstances. You sure are, says April. Blessed. Okay, on assignment mission. I will do that tomorrow. Somebody is ready for a handout. Maybe not. May not be much, but it will be helpful. In Broadus. Only 400 people, but the county seat. So stores there. Look, I don't know what that message was about. I don't pretend to understand everything that pops in my head when I do these things. I'm just repeating the message, and I'm sure that you know what that means. And before that, says MVT, what, did I miss something? No. And before that, I went from I am not getting out of here for a week to roaring double blade greater in 4 hours. Never would have guessed. It's good those things exist, ain't it? Because they'll pull you out of a jam. I have what is needed. That's all I can ask for. That's right. I am blessed with great friends, both in real life and on YouTube, says Fab Daddy. Yes, you are. You are blessed. And you know us, and that's awesome. I hear and will obey. Thank you, MVTV. I love you, brother. And I apologize for sounding a little harsh there a minute ago. I was just relaying the message. How does that happen? I'm going to do something no preacher on TV or in any real life situation has ever done. I'm going to break the record right now. I'm going to break the world. I'm going to tell you the secret. God's voice sounds a little like Garth Brooks. No, just kidding. Here's the secret. Before I enter into a reading of the Bible, I pray. And I ask the Lord for the wisdom and the understanding and the clarity and the forethought and the quick-wittedness and the recall and the ability to make connections with things I've learned in the past with the things I'm reading today, the ability to read and speak smoothly so I can present the word in a way that he will gladly appreciate and that people will accept, and to give me the words I need to speak, because I don't want to be wrong ever when teaching his word. I don't want to be held responsible for that. So stop me if I say the wrong thing. Cleave my tongue to my mouth. But if you want me to say something, put it in my head and I'll say it. Amen. And that's what happens. When I start reading, I react. I don't think. I don't prepare. I don't write scripts. None of that. I just react to what pops into my head. And I say it. Because if it's either me or it's God. I don't know which. I don't care which. I believe that I'm doing the work of God, and you believe that I'm giving you the work of God. That's good enough for me. I don't care. What I do care about is that my information is credible. Care about that. And so I spend a great deal of fretting that I'm doing the wrong thing or saying the wrong thing. I worry about that. So I go back and I listen very intently, and I try very hard to correct any mistakes I may make. And I have made a couple, and I try to go past them and learn. But when I make a mistake, I'll be the first one to tell you it was a mistake. And I'll be the first one to try to clarify it, because I want you to walk away from me knowing something more than you came with, to understand, to have clarity. That's the whole point in this, is to be clear. I'm not trying to save you. I'm not trying to convert you. I'm not trying to give you salvation of any kind. I just want you to be clear on what the Bible says, and that you'll work out for yourself. Your relationship with God is between you and God. That's not my job. It's above my pay grade. But from time to time, he does tell me things to say, and I say them because I'm being obedient. So you can trust it or you cannot. That's entirely up to you. I wouldn't ask you for your trust unless you thought it was worthy of having. But the fact that you're still listening lets me think that you trust what I say. And I hope that's good enough. Not harsh in the least. Thank you, sir. I thought it might be. Question. Should I be on the lookout for someone in need? May be obvious, or you will know it when you see it kind of thing. If not, I will accost a stranger. Pick a stranger. Okay, here's the answer to that question. Are you ready? It doesn't matter. Everybody has need. Everybody. What I told you to do was whatever popped in your mind when I was speaking to you, go get that thing. Whatever that thing is, it doesn't matter. Whatever popped in your mind, go get it. It don't matter how much it cost or how little. What matters is if you try to sway the thought. Maybe I'll pick something cheap. Don't do that. Whatever popped in your head, go get it. And I assume that whoever needs it will present themselves. That's between you and God. Just make sure somebody gets it. And if you do that, here's the thing. If you do that, what happened to you last week when you and I had that conversation and a third party stepped in to rectify the situation, that'll happen again in some fashion. And it'll continue to happen because you were obedient. And obedience is the key. That's the secret to the universe. That's the thing nobody really wants to say out loud. You have to be obedient. You are not in charge. You're not God. You are the creation. He is the creator. And he is the big daddy. And daddy likes to tell his kids what to do. And when you do it, it pleases him. Don't you want to please your father? I do. Maybe that helps. I'm sorry. It's the best I got. I know it's getting colder, but don't forget to drink water. Dehydration is a real dangerous. Yes, sir, it is, Fab Daddy. Always hydrate. It's a good thing. Good. That's a good message right there. Hydrate. Important at Fab Daddy. Made me a point to get something today other than coffee. I was stuck on it. Need to remind myself, as my doctor always says. Ajot says, I paid it forward and was able to provide gifts to a mother and a child who has had harder challenges lately than I have, so I was blessed to be a blessing. That's beautiful. Thank you for that. And God bless you. And he does. MVTV says, got it. You're a good soldier. Honestly, I looked at my houseplant. Really? Well, maybe your houseplant needs something. I said the point was to be obedient. Doesn't really matter what you do. If you're told to do it, do it. It's that simple. Don't question it. Don't argue with it. Just do it. If houseplant was what came up, then go give your houseplant what it needs. I think that's a little but that's between you and God. The important thing is to be obedient. Wait a minute. The pheasants are stumbling out with rabbits, searching for any open grass. I could grab some commercial for them. Cornmeal. I could grab some cornmeal for them and still try to do a good thing for a human. I didn't specify human, did I? Thank you, Fab Daddy. Yes, water is important. Hashtag let go, let God, says Ajot. It will come to you, MVTV. That's right. Don't question it too much. Just be obedient. MVTV says, thanks, Ajot. I'll try not to overthink and just let my heart be the censor. Sweet. I apologize for reading weird. I got new glasses, and they're not working very well. I can barely see the chat or anything else I've been trying to read. At least you don't have rats taking over, says April. Amen. The peanut butter toast stuck to the roof of my mouth, and the chili and that cumin twist, but the milk was the key. I got you. Yeah, the milk keeps the peanut butter from sticking to the roof of your mouth, and you can mingle it with the chili and get the unusual flavor combination, which is actually pretty good. Cornmeal and baking soda don't work. Those things are smart. Ugh, says April. Cornmeal and baking soda don't work? Yes, they do. What are you using them for? There's so many questions I have about that sentence. I'll read it again because I think I misunderstood. Cornmeal and baking soda don't work. Those things are smart. I'm confused. But I like it. I like where your head's at. Or I'm mixing it wrong. I have to get rid of rat. Oh, I got you now. Cornmeal and baking soda don't work for getting rid of rats. You know what does work? 100%. Rat traps. Not that ergonomic rat motel bull crap. One of those rat traps. Get one. You don't even have to put food on it. Just put it along the baseboard. Make sure it's up against the wall tight, and a rat will run into it. And you don't need to poison them. That rat trap will do the job. Go get you a bag of them. They're like $1. The ringnecks love whole corn, and they have a harem to support, too. Rats or mice, says Fab Daddy. The bucket catchers are effective. Yeah, a bucket will catch them, too. Get you a bucket and put a ramp up to the top of the bucket, and then put a wheel on the end of the ramp, and they'll run out there and fall in the bucket, and they'll be caught. But for a house, just get the rat trap. That's for the bucket thing is for catching rats in the yard because they're curious and they run all over the place looking for food, and they'll run into that bucket. But in a house, just make sure you put the rat trap against the baseboard because that's where it's going to run, along the wall. Anywhere you've seen a rat, put a rat trap, and you'll catch them. No rats here. I wonder why. It's freezing, that's why. Lots of mice. My cat keeps them. And gophers in check. Real nice. Your cat keeps them and gophers in check. Real nice. They're good for farms. Yes, very good. Those bucket traps are real good for farms. Both they had babies, and I just heard them last night in their rat talk. Ugh. They were squeaking at you. Well, get you some rat traps and put them out. Remember where you put them. Don't stick your toes in them because they'll break your toe. But they'll catch them. Well, technically pack rats. Wood rats are the same, but are more giant behemoth mice that look cuter. Oof. I don't think a rat looks cute at all, not even a hamster. Rats are 3 times the size of mice. April says, it's cold here too, and I'm bringing my cat in tonight. When she was inside, no problem with them. Yep. Rats and cats don't get along very well, that's for sure. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the top of the hour. I'm amazed at the number of rabbits, 4 or 5 at any one given time in the yard. When I came here in June, still see them all over. Hundreds. You know what you ought to do? Never mind. I started to tell you ought to put a trap out and catch a few of them and then start breeding them and eat them. But then I remembered you're not supposed to eat things with paws, so I'd be giving you bad advice. Don't do that. But if you get hungry, you got food. That's what I'm saying. I guess cat pee works. I don't think it does. There's a disease that rats get that make them sexually attracted to cat pee. And people can get it too. Matter of fact, among motorcycle accidents in America and car accidents, a high proportion of them have this disease, and I can't remember the name of it. It's something like trigonosis, but it's not trigonosis. That's something you get by eating bear meat, but it's something like that. I just can't remember the name of it. But don't let a rat or a cat scratch you. Put it that way. Ravens are bigger than blackbirds or crows. That is true. Really, says April? Yes. Good study. Your consistency and dedication are obvious. Jake, P.S. I have no problem with them. Damage-wise, I use them for target practice. Live fire, moving targets. Amen, brother. 2A, 1776. Raw. USA, USA. No, of course not. Not on the white flurries. White furries. No, I understand. It was a joke. I got it. But they do make good target practice, and they are quick. Metaphorically and literally. Like rabbits. I got to go, Jake. Driving home with Kevin. Tell Kevin I said I love you, and talk more next time. What the hell? Is he mad at me or something? Much love, everyone, says AJOT. Y'all have a blessing. Y'all have been a blessing into my life. Well, I hope that's true. I really do. And you're welcome here anytime. I would like to have you at the study some, but, come whenever you can. I appreciate you. And I hope things work out, and I hope that everything is a little smoother for you. And all I can tell you is that we'll be praying for you. And what you got to have happen in the near future is going to be tough. I just went through it not too long ago with my mother, so I understand. I have a sympathetic ear if you need one. We're here for you. Love you. Have a great night. All right, guys. Do me a favor. When you go out into the world tomorrow and encounter other people, be nice. It's easy. Easiest thing you've ever done. Just do that for me, if you would. Just be nice. I'm not asking you to do anything particular. Smile as you walk by somebody. Hold the door for a lady. Buy a bum a sandwich. Whatever it is you do, just be nice. And I promise it'll change your life. I promise it'll make things available to you that you didn't even know were availably. They're there. I promise. Do that. Change your life. Prove to God that you're alive, and let him prove to you that his words are true. It's that easy. Just be nice. Thank you so much for being a great audience and having such an awesome conversation and keeping things popping all night long. I really appreciate that. It makes the podcast go by like that. And I can't wait until tomorrow night when we can do it again. Have a great night. God bless you all. Merry Christmas. And above all,